on Kiwi.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Staring into the night sky now with Dylan Storey. Thanks very much to the Auckland Stardome Observatory. G'day there, Dylan.
Morning, Wammo. Morning, listeners.
And a big news story concerning space coming from New Zealand with a discovery of wandering planets, Dylan. What the heck are they talking about?
Yeah, wandering planets. So they've done a 2-year survey conducted from Mount John Observatory in the South Island. And it's been looking sort of outside, away from stars. I don't know what their purpose was, but what they've found is that there are planets out there that may not even be connected to a star. They may just be free floating in space. Now they say may because it is also possible that they are connected to the stars that they're in the vicinity of, it just in a very, very wide orbit.
Right, okay. Because the idea, though, that a planet might be wandering off on its own, not affected by the gravity of a star, a little bit concerning. It's like a massive asteroid with its own gravity field.
Yeah, just floating around space. I mean, I think the chance of any danger from these free-floating objects is negligible, but what it does is it sort of turns on its head the theory of how solar systems are formed and how, everything seems to have been formed when stars are formed by collapsing local areas of gas.
Yeah.
And planets are sort of the bits left around the outside. So, thinking how could these interstellar planets be formed?
This is still plausible, though, isn't it? I mean, the planet could have been formed in the way that you've just stated. But I mean, can a planet be, when it's in orbit, if it was in a distant orbit, can it be just slingshotted off its orbit and off into fast space?
That's probably the most likely solution. Yeah, is that it was formed around a star, and then something, maybe some intense gravitational resonance with a passing star or something, has caused it to actually be lost from its orbit and just literally get slingshotted off into space.
So have they found more than one of these?
Yeah, they found 10.
Ah, crikey.
And that's extrapolating from the survey, it sort of suggests that perhaps every star could have 2 Jupiter-sized planets, either ejected from it or in an extremely wide orbit. So even if it's in an extremely wide orbit, it also changes our conventional view of how solar systems are formed and the mechanics involved.
Yeah.
Because how do they get out there? How do they stay in orbit? What sort of orbit are they in? There are all sorts of other implications of this. If space is full of free-floating planets that we can't see, that are just out there, how is that going to change other theories of the way galaxies move, like potentially the dark matter theory, which says how the universe is expanding, and we don't know what's causing it to expand. There doesn't seem to be enough mass in the universe to cause that rate of expansion. Well, perhaps if it's full of free-floating planets, maybe this could account for some of our dark matter theory. So we'll have to wait for results on that to come out.
Does this also play into the whole chaos theory as well? I mean, you can't get much more chaotic than free-floating stars, perhaps. Or free-floating planets.
I wouldn't say it would go that far. I mean, I'm sure someone will come up with a physical explanation for why they're there. That's how sort of physical theories are formed, is by observing things and coming up with possible explanations and testing them and eliminating factors until you get a plausible theory of what's caused them.
So is this this discovery by these Kiwi astronomers making waves around the world? I mean, is this big news in the astronomy community?
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's anything that sort of makes you go back to a previously established theory and go, hang on, that's either not right or there's something we haven't thought about. That's significant.
Cool. Well, kudos to the Kiwis. Kudos to NASA, of course, because they managed to get Endeavour finally off the ground. Endeavour currently in orbit. Yeah.
It's the last ever mission. Endeavour's up there. I believe it's docked to the space station at the moment. And if you look out for where the space station is, perhaps you'll be able to see it going over. Now, there's a link to how to see the International Space Station off Stardome's website, stardome.org.nz. Follow the link Sky Guides, and then Satellites in the Sky, and then ISS. and it'll show you how to see the ISS. So it'll be particularly bright if you see it in the next day or so, because it's got Endeavour attached to it.
Did you manage to see the photo from a commercial airliner? A passenger took a photo. I think they were heading to New York or from New York or anyway, but apparently on takeoff the pilot said, "Oh look, we will be heading near the spatial launch. We might be lucky enough to see it." And sure enough, out came the iPhone, a couple of pictures and a video, and that's gone huge this week online. Very, very cool photo.
That's amazing, eh? I mean, I guess the weather doesn't matter when you're up there above the clouds, so you get a perfect view.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the particular video, but I've seen a previous one of one of the other space shuttle launches. It was just amazing, you know, that you take this plane which is travelling at some great speed, and the space shuttle just zooms off and makes it look like it's standing still, and you get this trail leading up into the sky until it eventually disappears.
Yeah. Pretty amazing stuff. And I'd imagine they would get those kind of angles quite often, don't they? Because don't they have like hovering, or like helicopters or observational aircraft near the launch to keep an eye on it?
Yeah, I think they do, yeah. I'm not sure how high they go up, but yeah, they are monitoring every aspect of it so that if anything goes wrong, they can check and sort of get some sort of outside view.
I'm always amazed at the zoom lens they even have from the ground and to keep track of it, especially on a clear sky. They can see it almost all the way up into space.
Yeah. You see it curve away to the east as it follows the Earth's rotation to get its last bit of velocity to get out of Earth's gravity.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? There's a video out there. It's incredibly slow motion, high definition video of the Saturn V rocket launch, which is the Apollo missions that went to the moon.
From the launch on the ground where everything's coming off it in slow motion, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's zoomed right in on the engine, so right under, and you can sort of see all the changes of the states of matter and the individual particles coming out of the engine.
Wow.
It's the most incredible thing.
Combustion.
Yeah.
And slow-mo. Like lighting
basically
a match.
broken down to microseconds.
Yeah.
But this special type of rocket combustion, you know, liquid oxygen, whatever it is, boosting the rockets up. It's really amazing. And then, you know, after all this stuff is happening, after you've been watching these explosions and things come out of the engines for about a minute, then the rocket starts to move gradually off the ground.
Yeah.
And there's a certain stage where it sort of something happens and it sucks all the air and vapor back in underneath it.
Yeah. Because it's starved, because all that, it's starved for oxygen, isn't it? And it just wants to suck all the oxygen in so to keep the fire burning. I mean, in the end, it's just a bunch of people strapped to a rocket. I mean, an actual rocket, you know, it's not too far dissimilar to a Guy Fawkes rocket, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the
that's
same.
exactly right. It's just like they're up there in the top and they're lighting this huge fire underneath them, and off they go.
And going, woo, and hoping it doesn't explode.
I think it's on that Shadow of the Moon documentary where Buzz Aldrin is talking about what it's like to be launched up on the Saturn V, because that was a big rocket by rocket standards. And he said, you know, you're right up the tip of this massive thing, and you can feel it pitching in your and sort of moving meters to the side at once, and you're just hoping that its net velocity will take you up.
Yeah.
And it's all rattling and these immense movements, and eventually you get some upward velocity and it stabilizes and off you go.
They certainly are made of the right stuff, that's for sure. At the Auckland Saturn Observatory, I suppose you can still see, well, no, that's early morning stuff, isn't it? What can you see from the Auckland Saturn Observatory at the moment? What's interesting?
7 o'clock show is the natural selection show, all about Darwin. I think I've talked about that before, the fantastic graphics. That's worth checking out. Sky Tonight show, showing you what's on in the sky tonight at 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock on weekends is the Pink Floyd show, Dark Side of the Moon, which is actually awesome. There's some really awesome graphics there. So I recommend Pink Floyd fans, music fans, visual fans in general, check out the Pink Floyd show.
Mind-bending, bro. Mind-bending.
You get a whole different type of people coming along too.
Dylan, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.
See ya.
Time now here on Kiwi is 5 minutes.